Well, hello everyone. It's been about 3 years since my last video, and it's about time to get back at it. A lot's happened in that time frame, and that's what we're gonna kind of talk about in this video. This is just kind of a getting back into the groove of making videos and to get you all caught up. 3 years ago I made a video on how to true your lathe, and a lot happened. The biggest thing is I ended up relocating, and that's a tremendous undertaking when you have the shop that I did with the machinery that I did. That's a lot to move, that's a lot to put into storage, and then where I moved I didn't have a shop, so had to build a shop, and that's been about 2.5 years strong. So this is it. It's not quite ready for a walk around. There's still some things to be done. I've got to run power for HVAC in here, and then run an air line in here, and then get some paint on the walls and just things like that. But it's up and running. All the machines are moved in. Everything's kind of set up the way I want it. I've been back at it for several months now, just piddling. Right now I'm just kind of piddling along, doing some rifles here and there. But the one thing that kind of brought me back into this is, one, I kind of missed doing the videos, and two, the emails. I still get just a ton of emails on what happened, are you coming back, I really enjoyed this video, do you still recommend this, that, and the other thing. And I kind of miss doing this, and so here we are. A little bit about this shop. As most of you know, I've been through a process building shops. I've kind of got it figured out to what I like and what I don't like. And my last shop was quite large, and it was quite spread out, and I didn't like that at all. So this shop, it was really nice because it was designed basically from the ground up, from the concrete up. This wasn't one that I had to build myself, and I was in a hurry to get it done. So this took some time. The basic rundown is it's a red iron building. It's three. I don't want to explain that. It's basically 3 bays. The machine shop is kind of in what I would call the customer entrance. Each bay has a finished interior dimension of 20 by 40. I really like that. So on this part of the shop, this is the what I would call the precision machine part of the shop, the clean area where I have my mill, 2 of my lathes. This is where I do a lot of my gunsmithing, rifle building, and things like that. This section is 20 by 40. I like it because it's very small. Everything that I have is neat and organized, and it's very easy to get to. For example, this right here that we're sitting at is both the workbenches, makes an L, and then literally 3 feet to my left is the lathe. Everything to do that kind of work is right here. So I don't have to walk around a bunch like I did in my old shop to find things. It has a paint room in a separate area in here where I can do all my Cerakoting and things of that sort. And then on the other side of this bench is a wall where that is the office area / I'm putting together a little bit of a retail area. One thing that's always kind of aggravated me is you build these nice rifles, and you're always stuck waiting on quality optics or quality components if you're a reloader, or just good reloading equipment to begin with. Like pretty nice stuff. That and things like bottom metals of different types, good scope mounts, and a buddy of mine and I got talking about that, and we kind of think that might be a pretty neat idea to have a small retail area. And the other reason for that is been a long-term goal of mine to actually not only do client custom rifles, but have a select few rifles of mine in stock and available for purchase. So it's kind of a common sense thing. So this space will have an office and retail area as well. There is a wall on the separating the machine shop from the rest of the shop. The rest of the shop is basically 40 by 40 interior dimension. I can't remember what the actual footprint was. Obviously, it was a little bit larger than that to keep the interior dimensions those, but the interior on the other part of the shop is 40 by 40. And what that consists of is, for those that have followed the channel for a long time, I have a very large lathe. It's affectionately called the Big Blue Pig. That's what I do a lot of heavy work on. That is where that is. There's a 20 by 40 section dedicated to basically fabrication, be it metal or wood. And then on the other side of that is where I have a couple of my transmission rebuild tables, engine benches, and my lift. This is kind of like my little dream, a mini version of my dream shop. One other thing I'll mention is that the ceiling in this part of the shop, the machine shop, is an 8-foot ceiling, and so there's a whole another 12-foot section above this. That there's a whole second floor above the machine shop. Everything else is open. Outside of that, I'm pretty excited. As we get back into making videos, I'll take you through some of the cool things that I've added to the shop since the last time I was on. Last time we did the YouTube thing. Things in the works coming up is I've had a lot of questions on that Grizzly lathe. As you know, I have the when my closet in Colchester went down, I was kind of in a bind, and I bought the Grizzly G0824. That's got the big spindle bore, DRO, and everything, and I've gotten a lot of emails from y'all, well, not all y'all, but a lot of you, on how I like that lathe. And I've got a lot of time on that machine between now and then. Fortunately, in the process of getting this built, that is one thing that went to the dealership that I worked at, and they allowed me to set that up in there. And if I had something that I needed to build right in there, like I think I built 3 or 4 rifles at the dealership on this machine before it got moved back, what I consider home. The point is, I've got a lot of time on that machine, and so I'll kind of do a 3-year evaluation on that, things I like, things I don't like. And then we've got some other questions and answers. We're going to get into next weekend. I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to film, but I'm just about ready to start the chambering process on a custom fast twist 270. That's going to be really exciting. That's on a factory Remington action that's been trued up. I'm getting ready to pin the recoil lug, and this will be its own little video. I don't know how much of the how-to we'll get into on this one, because my plan is to have this done next weekend for the customer. But I've got the action trude. I've just got to pin the recoil lug, and then I'll be able to start the chambering process. I had a lot of questions on causes of vertical stringing, and that was really interesting because it just so happened that when that batch of emails came in, I had built a gas gun for myself, excuse me, so that I could kind of get a good feel for it. And that was going to be kind of my competition gun for next year. I'd like to get into the PRS, and it just worked out that I had pretty much all of the components to build this, and it's got some neat features. But one thing that was interesting was it's chambered in 6-arc. There's some things that I did that's a little bit different. That barrel that is on this it's my barrel, it's my design. I had basically I had an extra Bartlein barrel just kicking around, and it was an oddball profile, something that I wasn't ever really going to use in 6mm, or so I thought. And so I turned it down into a AR barrel, and the big thing with this is it's a rifle length plus 2 or 3 on the gas tube. So what that means is it's two to, I can't remember if I went with 2 or I'll have to measure that gas tube, but it's basically a +1 is 1 inch longer, +2 is 2 inches longer, +3 is 3 inches longer, to help get it running perfect. And this thing, when I originally took it out and went through the barrel break-in, I mean, you could tell right off the bat it was going to be a hammer, and it just shoots fantastic. I think what impressed me the most was I did a 10-round group, pretty, kind of rapid fire with this, and it was 3/4 MOA at 150 yards. But what I did notice, and this is what I'm going to use to talk about vertical stringing when we get to that video, is this had a natural tendency to do that. And so in an upcoming video, we're going to talk about vertical stringing, kind of things that you can look for to eliminate mechanical issues with your rifle, like what this has. And then once you got those taken care of, it's kind of you. So we'll visit that rifle up close and personal. When we talk about vertical stringing, the pretty neat thing that I just finished, and I'm getting ready to take this out today, is this guy here. This is a 6GT on a Bartlein carbon fiber barrel. It's got an impact action. This has a HS precision bottom metal, because the thing, and we'll talk about this in a video before it goes. This is a custom stock. I built this stock by hand, and did the inletting and everything. It's been a long time since I've made a stock, and I think it came out pretty good. But what I did, and I've always kind of wanted to do that, is make. I've done it quite a few times for single shots. Is do a solid bedding block, and man, I've had just fantastic luck with that design and concept. It's a very interesting concept. Maybe one day we'll get into that. I don't know, but on this, this is obviously, it's not a single shot. So it's a full-length aluminum bedding block. By that I mean it's the full length of the action. The pillars are made into the bedding block, and it's made to accept the H&S Precision DBM conversion. I need to play around with this design a little bit more to see if I can get it to what it would take to get it to like an M5 inlet, to where we can get ASICs or AICS magazines for it. That's a much wider bottom metal, and the one thing I don't want to do with this is, you know, you can get a lot of wood out of it, but you got to respect that aluminum, because that's where your rigidity and strength is coming from, and I need to design that so it doesn't interfere with that. But anyway, this is that, and we'll take a closer look at this in an upcoming video. Of course, it's already built, so there's not much to go through with it, but we'll talk about optics and how it shoots and things like that. I have pretty high hopes for this rifle. This ought to be pretty good. And this is kind of, I don't know that so the story with the why make a stock. I don't think there's a practical reason to do that in this day and age of chassis and carbon fiber stocks and things like that. The truth is I wanted to, and I have 2 blanks. That's what this is what this started out with. Is I've had 2 of these black walnut blanks kicking around for a very long time, and I said, man, I got to use those. So I've got one more stock that I'm going to make. I'm going to try to make a thumb hole stock for that build, and we'll see how that goes. But this is basically what I'm thinking is going to be one of the calibers when I get ready to officially reopen. This is probably going to be one of the calibers that will be kind of on the shelf all the time for purchase. I think the 6GT it's a mighty fine round, and if you're a reloader, I think it's an excellent. You've got a lot of options. So anyway, we'll talk about that one later. And then outside of that, until I get really rolling again, it'll be, you know, a little bit of, this is what we're doing, this is how I do it, and a lot of just answering questions that have come along. And then when we get rolling, we'll get into, we'll pick up right where I left off after the truing of the lathe, like getting into the nitty-gritty of the how-to stuff. I'm hoping, and I had to kind of seriously evaluate this situation, is because I do work full-time. That was kind of, y'all kind of know my philosophy on that. I don't like loans and things like that, so everything in this shop has been out of pocket, which is fine. But I did go back to work full-time, which I think I'd done that before I moved anyway. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but I went back to work at the dealership as a mechanic. And I kind of get moved around a lot between Ford and, you know, the company I work for. We have the big 3. We've got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. We've got Ford and the whole GM side. And I'm pretty well versed in those all 3. And so they kind of just move me where they need me. And so realistically, I'm hoping that we can get, you know, I'll be able to make at least a video a month. That's a very realistic goal, especially with some of this stuff that I've already got down the pipeline. One thing I do, if you're watching this, I do have a question for y'all. You can answer it down in the comments below. Behind me, you'll see a shotgun that's in for repair, and then, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. And then behind that is my personal Remington 700. I've had that for an awful. To me, the thing you got to understand when I say that rifle is shot out is that thing has been a tack driver for almost all my life. And about 3.5, 4 years ago, that's how long that's been sitting on the back burner. You know, hunting season came around, and I kind of noticed over the past couple years, the groups are kind of opening up. And that year they'd gotten out of hand. I think the best group I got out of that was a hair over. Yeah, it was like 1.2 inches. And you know, that gun has traditionally been, you know, down in the threes at 100 yards, and it's just shot out. So I run the bore scope through it, and you could see it's just fire cracked and yada yada yada. So I'm looking at doing I'm looking at doing a rebarrel job on that, and I'm kind of you guys can offer your opinions. I invite you to offer your opinions and recommendations on what to convert that to. It is a 308. That's how it came. I love the 308. That's all I've shot for years and years and years. There's a few other calibers that I really like. I have always, this is what I'm going to tell you. I have always been a big fan of the 7mm and the quarter bores. And so my thought process is 6.5 PRC on a standard Remington action. That's one of the original Remingtons. I really don't want to get into machining and opening that up to accept the extra length on the 6.5. I want to keep that action, other than tune it up, as close to factory as possible. So the 6.5 PRC, which would be kind of the obvious, is out. I really like the 7mm 08 or 7/08 if you're an old timer like myself. That's what we grew up calling it. That's a fantastic round. Or we've got the 25 Creedmoor now, which, I can't remember, it was this year, I think January 2025, I think it got accepted into SAMI, so there's factory ammo for that. And that has a lot of benefits. So my question for y'all, and I'll take that I'll read those comments for sure. What do you think? 7/08, 25 Creedmoor, or maybe you have something else that'll work in a short action. I kind of like you know, down here in Texas, I kind of like a good handy do-it-all gun, and man, either one of those two I think would fit the bill. I don't really know a whole bunch of the 25 Creedmoor as far as its hunting capabilities. What it can do, I'm pretty sure it could take Texas-sized deer. I'm really confident on pigs and coyotes and varmints and things like that. It'll just be a laser beam on that, but pretty much outside of that, that's a cartridge I just don't know a lot about. So light it up down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Outside of that, that's really all that's been going on, guys. It kind of feels good to get back in front of the camera a little bit and be with you all. And I look forward to the next video. Thanks.